Hi, I'm Beatrice.
Hi, I'm Guilherme. And because you guys asked it on our last video, we're going to talk about the 5 cons of living in Portugal. Number 1 would be how some laws are interpreted here in Portugal. Law in general has very different interpretation depending on the people and depending on the places. So sometimes we had our documents and even saw on websites what we needed to take to or start our documentation or a visa or a card, and then people told us that we needed more than the website said, and we were very confused why that happened. And just by changing the place that we did that, they asked the documents that we had initially, and we did the documents that we had to do. So interpretation is something that is very odd around here.
Yeah, sometimes, for example, I mentioned in other video that we need to change the address when we come here. We need to put in a Portuguese address or else you're gonna pay more taxes. But some places say like, oh no, you cannot change your address. You need a work contract, even though you are a freelancer, so I don't have a contract. And then I just went a few kilometers from that place and did in other place, and they didn't ask for anything. They just asked what's your address. They fill in the forms and change my address here. So it really depends on the person. Some people think some things are not possible, so you need to try different places sometimes. And also when there is a new law, it's a mess sometimes because different cities, different departments interpret it different ways.
Yeah, they have like a free interpretation of something. So even though some visas are very easy because the country knows that people are coming here to help the country to grow economically, these little things of the interpretation make people's lives very confusing. Even though they speak Portuguese, we imagine for people who don't speak Portuguese must be even more difficult. So I think that's something that to keep in mind.
The second one is the water. So coming from Brazil, we noticed a huge difference in the water here. Not to drink. To drink actually is better than Brazil. In Brazil, we couldn't drink tap water. Here, we can drink tap water. But when we wash our hair, the water here has a lot of coca. It's also known as hard water. So it makes your hair fall a lot and it makes your hair hard, or is a little harder to manage the hair. And some people also have skin rashes when they come here. We didn't have this problem with the skin, but definitely with the hair. And the products that worked for us back home don't work here.
And this depends of where you are going to live in Europe. Portugal even doesn't have that much.
Yeah, it's not that hard water. It's not that bad.
Yes, but we've heard from some people who went to Germany, for example, they even have like skin problems.
Yeah.
So there's very scary, and something that we didn't have idea before we
and a lot of people think or mention, your hair is falling because of stress or vitamin D or something else, but we were not stressed. On the contrary. Yeah. So we were kind of confused why our hair was falling, and then we talked to other immigrants that had the same problem. So yeah, in Germany actually I noticed right away because my hair, I thought that I left all the conditioner in my hair because it was just all stuck together. It was terrible. Here is more subtle, but it falls a lot.
Yeah, and we don't know if the Portuguese are already used to the water and then don't feel it, right? Because we asked many Portuguese about it, even hairdressers and barbers saying like, oh, is it the water different? What can I do for the water? And they said, different? How different? They are used to it, or they don't know about it, but it's very different from where we came from. That was Brazil. And number 3 would be smoking. This is something that I think that is not just Portugal. We've heard that France is like that as well, but people smoke a lot around here, and usually is not allowed inside closed places. But there are some coffees that people, usually small coffee places, that is allowed. So it's a little strange, it's a little odd for you to enter and people are smoking in a closed place.
Because back home we didn't see any places, not allowed anywhere. And here sometimes we are at the bus stop and people are smoking, holding children and smoking. So for us it's very strange, as well as like the trash of people throwing the cigarettes on the floor is different.
But again, this is something that is cultural. So not even just Portugal, but of Europe itself. So you're probably going to find that in many countries around here.
Number 4 is making friends. Not that it's hard to make friends, but the age groups here are a little different. There are way more older people here. They are really nice, but it's harder to be friends because it's a different generation, you know. We haven't met many Portuguese people around our age. We have some Portuguese friends, but it's definitely harder to meet people here in Porto around our age to go out and talk. Maybe in other cities, maybe in Lisbon, there are more younger people or young adults, but here usually the people we meet that are around our age are either Brazilians or from other countries.
Yes, and we don't live in Porto like downtown. So probably Porto downtown there are younger people for you to make friends with. Live in the suburb, there are more older people around here. So we miss this a lot, to be with people who are our age and make friends of our age.
Yeah, this is like a good and bad aspect at the same time, because we live around older people here, but they are really nice and really receptive. So that's something nice, that it feels like family.
Yes.
We just miss sometimes meeting and having more friends, but the people we've met here really received us as family, and we also feel like at home. And this is a nice part of it, but it's not like the relationship that you go out with them and have that friendship, so it's a little different.
Yeah, they help you a lot, even though you're like, you're not asking, they come to you and help and give you things, so they are very nice.
Especially food. It's like grandma's house. They like to give you a lot of food.
Yeah, the food here, as we said in the other video, is great.
Number 5 would be the size of clothes and shoes for some people. We didn't have this problem, but I noticed that it was a little different when we went to a shoe store, and I thought it was heels for kids because it's so tiny, the shoes. And comparing to the numbers in Brazil, I'm not talking about the numbers of the size itself, because that changes in every country, but the sizes. So for example, I have a really average size. In Brazil is the second smallest for adult women, and here mine is the second biggest. For anyone that has a size a little bigger than that, it's gonna be hard to find shoes, because they run smaller than in Brazil, for example, and I imagine they run smaller than in other countries. About clothes, I didn't have any problems, but I know some friends, they had problems with pants that also run smaller than average, so it's a little hard to find the right size, depending on your size. As
we wear average sizes, we didn't have much problems.
Yeah.
But we think about people who are on extremes, or you're very short or very tall. Might be a little more difficult, but that's nothing that you can't solve going with for Amazon, because you have Amazon in France, Amazon in Italy, Amazon in UK, Amazon in Spain, so you have a bunch of options. Okay guys, so these are the 5 cons of living in Portugal. If you live in Portugal, if you have any questions, you can comment here or send us a message on our link if you have any questions about it. And why not leave a comment down below here of why you want us to talk more about, with Portugal, with Nomad, or the places that we already been.
Or working online as well, like all these topics that involve living in Portugal or being a digital nomad and working online.
Yeah. So that sums up. Thank you guys, and stay safe.
See you next video.